So the South African Parliament has gotten itself involved in the McG saga. All this following an episode that he did on his Podcast and Chill, where he made remarks about Minnie Dlamini's privates.
Yeah, tell us about that story, Ghostbusters. What happened? Let's start there.
But what's going on?
What's going on with Minnie Dlamini,
What's going on over there?
So I saw a post from Dr. Monaisa Brian, confirming their breakup. So just saying that they broke up. Is that what?
Yes,
is there something deeper?
No. We're asking you, like, what happened? Is it infidelity?
No. He said no. He said on his post it said there was no infidelity involved. They just broke up. It was out of just an agreement together.
No, man, something's gonna be wrong with Minnie, bro.
I also feel like
no, guys,
Minnie.
Why
Minnie?
No, I'm saying. What is it? I missed that.
I was like, no, he's not that kind of doctor. He's loaded. He said he can't date Minnie with X-ray money. No, he does BBL. He's like plastic. He's a plastic surgeon, Baba. Those guys print money. He does the BBLs. You know now girls don't have to go to Turkey. They could just go to Monaisa. And I don't know, he does the things. He creates bodies, man.
My thing is, Minnie's pretty, bro.
Yeah.
Minnie's beautiful.
Why can't she keep a man?
No, I'm suspecting with this guy, I don't know with the other guys, but with this guy, I feel like maybe he had a fantasy. Because Minnie was like the hot girl. Remember there was a period where she was the girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like maybe that's when the doctor was still coming up, still doing X-rays there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now he's got it. And maybe he just wanted that experience. That's how I see it. Bro. We will never know because we went inside. But I feel like maybe it's that. And he realized that, okay, what now?
Yeah, I have a friend who wants that experience. See, I know you're watching. We spoke about it.
With who?
After this guy, it's me. Kiki lying.
You're out of line, man. Oh, you want to date Minnie?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, there's got to be something wrong with her. Like maybe a coochie smells or something, bro.
No.
Yeah.
You know this happens, though. It happens, bro.
No.
So the Minister of Women, Youth and People with Disabilities had this to say about the whole matter.
If we're going to really end gender-based violence, we must end it where it starts. It shouldn't be ended when action such as rape or murder takes place. I'm regarding this because last year in November, together with the Human Science Research Council, we have released a report that have actually shown high levels of gender-based violence incident, but where they also emanate because we've normalized soft violence, we've normalized emotional, online, and various other nuances of violence, and we don't prevent it, we don't stop it. And this is why, actually, when you listen to Mr. Mukwebo's utterances, which has always been a problem in the public, there's an outcry, such as many other platforms that have joined. So that's why we're coming out to say part of ending gender-based violence is where it starts.
So Ukusela Digo, who is also a representative of Parliament, also had this to say.
There's been a lot of backlash on the comments that were made by McG. But I think for ourselves as a portfolio committee, the issue is not so much about McG, but what it does is to put a razor-sharp focus on the issue of podcasts. Now, these are discussions that we have been having in the portfolio committee, and as I say, they just come into attention now because of the current furore around McG. Let me tell you why this issue is important, Bali. In South Africa, you have over 3.2 million people who engage with podcasts on a weekly basis. Now, that is the size of our biggest radio stations. I saw a report from PwC not so long ago, which estimated this number could rise to as much as 19 million. So you are talking about platforms that have a huge reach. And because they have a huge reach, they also have a lot of influence. Now, they operate in what we have said is a regulatory gray area. The legislation that we currently have, it's outdated. I mean, the broadcasting industry is governed by the Broadcasting Act of 1999. The broader sector, ICT sector, is governed by the Electronic Communications Act of 2005. And I'm sure you'll appreciate that when these laws were created, you did not have online media of the size that we do today. You did not have media that operates across borders. And therefore, it's important that our legislation is updated to be able to respond to the current challenges. And what we've been raising with the Minister of Communications in particular is that where you need to start is to accelerate the completion of the audiovisual policy, because then that will begin to bring these over-the-top services, the podcasts in particular, under the regulation and the governance of, amongst others, the Broadcasting Act, and therefore begin to create a code of ethics for them to be able to operate. Last year, these were things that were supposed to be top of mind. There were urgent issues that the department was supposed to deal with. The industry, in successive engagements that we've had with them, they've raised the delays around the SABC bill, they've raised the delays around this audio and audiovisual policy, and it's really important that attention is given to them, because if you fail to do so, you see, now we are talking about one particular case, and I want to make the point that when we speak about regulation of podcasts, it's not about shutting down creativity, it's not about gagging people or taking away the right to freedom of expression. What it is to be able to protect them as well as people who are hurt by maybe harmful content that is expressed on their podcast. We're dealing with issues of misinformation. You're dealing with unjustified shaming. You're dealing with content that is harmful to kids. I mean, you look at some of these podcasts and they don't even have classification as far as the Film and Publication Board goes. So what could be adult content, and this was raised very sharply in the Portfolio Committee, adult content is proliferated across Twitter, across YouTube. So our focus is really around the over-the-top services, as they're called, as a whole, and then zooming into podcasts. Currently in South Africa, media is only characterized as either radio, print, or television. So that gives you a sense of how urgent it is that we are able to get the department to move with the necessary speed on these issues. Guarantees the freedom of expression, which it then limits. I think also in Section 15 to say that no right has no obligations or responsibilities to the other. But the same Constitution speaks about the rights to dignity, it speaks about rights to equality, it speaks about the right to privacy. And obviously from time to time there will be tensions between these two rights. We have a responsibility as Parliament, as South Africans in general, as the judiciary, to protect these constitutionally enshrined rights. And that is why regulation is important, because what it does is to begin to create a platform for coexistence to be able to resolve these tensions. And when we say regulations, people immediately assume that we are talking about things like censorship. You know, we come from a history where we know what it feels like to be censored. We know what it feels like for people not being able to raise their voices, to share their views and their ideas, and we would never do that. And that is the reason why, for example, the print industry, the broadcasting industry, they have voluntarily gone out to develop codes of practice in line with what the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa guides them. Those code of practice, they voluntarily, what we call self-regulation, sign up to those codes because they understand that regulation works in the interests of everybody. And there are many positives to that. I don't think that we need to get into now. But so we're talking about self-regulation, co-regulation, where there's an agreement in terms of what is acceptable, what is not acceptable on those platforms, and indeed then also looking at issues of classification in line with the Film and Publications Board.